Welcome back, shop rats. We got a guest here in the shop today. Y'all remember my buddy Chris? We're back on the Stitches Challenger, and today we're gonna do some floor pan work. Chris is gonna do some floor pan work. I'm Tom Sawyer today.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the work.
So let's get into it. I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
This is My Car's Shop.
So I thought this would be a good project for you to work on because I know you do a lot of welding, but it's different.
All of the welding that I do is heavier welding. I'm always trying to hop up my welder. I'm always trying to do heavier plate, 1/4 inch or better. Preheat to 700 degrees, then hit it with the MIG or the TIG to try to take my welder beyond what it'll normally do. I've never done sheet metal before.
Yeah.
Every time I've tried, I just blow through. This
Right.
will be a very interesting experience trying to do something very light.
Could be a very short episode.
Or a very long one.
So I thought it'd be a good project. Push your skill set the other end, you know. I told so by the time you're done today, you'll be able to weld up a nice little wedding ring for your wife or something. So
yeah,
I guess you're already married. But
yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it. So what we're going to do is probably start with this piece here, which is laying over there, and get this part welded into the car, and then get that one welded in, and then we've got work to do up here as well. There's a little bit of fabricating we'll do. I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll get this put in as is, then we'll spin the car up on its side, and we'll make a patch piece to fit the where it's got to have stuff in here.
Yeah, for the gap boxes
Yeah,
here.
because if it was a nicer car, I would do it a lot more finesse. But for this, just get it done. So yeah, so then all this is done. We just got to finish it. So
Probably said this one before, but pro tip for you. When it's cold outside, put your ear coverings on your leg to warm them up. Save you a lot of high frequency screeching. When you go to put them on and they're already warm.
is always making sure that your grinding wheel is spinning off edge on the sheet metal. If you're spinning into it, it very likely will catch it, destroy this disc, explode it, and could destroy the part. So always make sure that your grinding wheel is spinning off edge, not on edge.
Well, in this case, it's going to spin right that way.
So you want to use
always want to use this edge and come this way. So I'm never coming up this way.
Right, exactly. So Chris got the clecos put back in and everything kind of roughed together. So I think we're ready to tack weld that in. We're not going to weld it solid yet, but we'll get it fairly good. Then we'll have to spin the car up and decide how we're going to fabricate that piece that goes in to fill the gap oses. There we go. Everything is spotted now, so we'll be able to turn the car up and then figure out how we're going to fabricate the pieces that are going to go in here, or the piece that's going to go in there. There may be some cut and butt involved in this. I'm not sure, but it's looking good.
And definitely a lesson learned. When I was trying to fill the gaps over here, I needed the higher wire speed to bridge the gap. But when I had a tight joint over here, I had to get the wire speed down, or like this one, I would just overfill and just crown it up on top. The lower wire speed would allow me to get the heat down into the base metal.
And I mentioned to Chris too that on this he hadn't done thick to thin before like this. The best way to do that is to get some high holy heat on that heavy metal and then let the bubble or the puddle fall down onto the sheet metal and just end it with a spot.
Like this one down here.
Right, exactly. Yep.
But yeah, definitely a lesson learned. Why I was so terrible at sheet metal is that it's wire speed and heat for gapping or for bridging a gap or not. That's very interesting. I'm glad to have learned that lesson. Thank you.
Probably one of many today. So we came up with the game plan. We're going to cut these little tabs off and just make little pieces to go in here and here. This one almost will. One hammered and dollied should fill up. But if we need to put, so we'll just put some little pieces in. This has got to be cut off here as well. So there's not as much overlap there. So Chris is going to get working on that.
Some of that could probably be hammered in, rolled in, and catch this piece.
Yeah, if we took it off about here, that would still give us a 1/4 inch of overlap to hammer up. So.
Okay. I like that better. I had cut this off in this way, and Mike pointed out that if I come in this way, then it's a flat piece to lay across here and here, instead of having to do an angled piece or crown it in there. And I like the cut back here too, because I can now peen this down and roll this whole corner out nice and smooth. By doing that little cut right there, all of this will lay right down. My high school welding instructor, Dennis Lamb, if you ever see this, Dennis, give me a grade.
And just like that, we got our first little piece made. We were just talking that Chris will tack it into place here. Once it's welded up there, then we'll just come out with the grinder, grind this to flush to this piece, and you can run around it with a weld and good to go. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the magnets. You're going to have to go the opposite way, but at least it's not an edge you're going to catch. You see what I mean? So unfortunately, and if you keep it angled this way a little bit, okay, yeah, it won't be as bad. So it's not really a rule, it's more of a guideline. Yeah, that fits good. Looks really good now. Just, I mean, you can almost run a bead on that because it's an edge, but you're gonna have to be real careful because
I'll probably spot it and then fill it back in just because.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be perfect, but it could blow through because of the ground edge. So. Yeah. So now he'll just take the cutoff wheel and cut it off where that line is, because that's about where, just do it just a touch long first, grind it down in place, and you're good. And just like that, it's all done. There's a couple little pinholes, and we'll just hit that with the seam sealer, and it's going to be just fine, nice and strong, good to go. Oh, yeah. So next piece, we'll get this one done. Chris went through and tacked that in place, did a little gap welding here. That was a new experience for him.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty slick. Bridge it from both sides and then one touch in the middle to...
Yep. And the rustier the metal is on this side, the less you want to bridge on this side and bring it from this side over.
Yeah, I was noticing that, and you can see right down in here where I was burning away the metal on that side, but this side took it very well.
Yep, because this is all brand new, and this isn't actually a piece of metal out of an old car. So, but it looks good. So now we're going to flip it over and make it pretty. Now we got a little hammer work to do there if you want to grab that real quick.
Hang on.
But otherwise, I think we're good to get it done from the other side. So.
Like it was made for it.
Just like that, we got it all stitched together. He did a great job. First time doing sheet metal work like this at all. I'll let him kind of share his thoughts when he gets back. He ran a little errand for a second, but it looks outstanding. So the floor is all done now. We just got to finish it up. We need to finish welding in these. And there's a little bit of floor pan work to do back in here, but for the most part, the cabin floors are done. So it's awesome. So he'll be back in just a minute, and we'll have his thoughts on what this was like, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Mike, do you have something that would work super fast and super easy to get this super clean?
Super clean. Ask for it by name. Maybe you need to do a couple more spots here and there, but for the most part, most of the welding was done on the backside. So looks good though. Looks really good. It's exciting to have this much floor pan in the car again. Huge. It's huge. We've made huge progress today here in the Stitches Challenger. Well, it's all done. Just got to be finished up.
That was a lot of fun.
Good.
That's a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. Now I'm interested in trying sheet metal at home.
Good.
Especially with going new to old and making those bridges. And now I know how to not blow through what I was working on, what I was always blowing through before.
Right. And I had him welding. We left a little bit of some really thin, rusty metal that I might have taken out, but I wanted you to. I told you you'd be welding, tinfoil by the end of the day.
And that was tinfoil. But it was amazing the way it came
together. There was a spot where there's some Swiss cheese rust, and he went right around it and welded. And I said, "Told you."
Yeah. That was very interesting.
Good. So what other thoughts do you have?
There's really a couple of basic techniques, and it's paying attention to those and wire speed and your voltage. And my brother John would get a kick out of this. This is the methodical, the methodical work that he would love to do.
Yep. Bring him up sometime.
Yeah, should get him up here and
Although
sheet metal.
We're running out of sheet metal work on this car, we really are. So
Well, I'll get him in my shop, and I've
Well,
already had him TIG welding before, so
we got the Forsyth and the Golden Mullet too, and so there's a lot. Well, I appreciate you coming up and learning a new skill set. You learned how to weld good metal to rusty metal, sheet metal to sheet metal, clean, as well as doing plug welding, which is sheet metal to thicker metal like the frame rails. So I think that was about all we taught you. Yeah. So it was a hoot. I had really enjoyed it. So thanks for joining us for the journey in the day here in the shop. And I don't know, I guess that's it. We'll catch you on the next one. I'll be here. He probably won't. But we do have to remember because it's important. Rock!